Push Nyets. Remote control. Hammers and Nyets. Ready to roll with the Nyets from Sergeant Bash smashed by the Nyets metal. Sir Killer God of Nyets about to unsettle. The sacrificial program on Nyets slaughter. Electro armor about Nyets kind of torture. The war on Nyets. The iron and Nyets. Reel and pound and round you down Nyets. Gonna make you feel the end is Nyets. 3, 2, 1. Act Nyets.
You know what, James? I don't want to be part of this podcast anymore. I'm out. Cut this.
You've killed the meme lord. How did you even do that?
Nyets.
Hello, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to another episode. Ruined the intro.
I knew it.
You ruined the intro. This is gonna be the Robots That Never Were 2, and you ruined the intro. Well done. Right, you're gone.
The podcast that never were.
Oh, god damn it! Oh wait, you're out of this now. I'm kicking you out of this shotgun. Yeah, this. If you couldn't tell from the title, yes, this is, unfortunately, this is the second episode of my series, The Robots That Never Were, which was originally pitched to me by Anthony from Anarchy. And it's just we talk about robots that fail to qualify. Either they might be a different version of a robot we've seen, or indeed a robot we've never ever saw in the series once, but might have seen in the background or whatever. But as you just heard, interrupting me is of course Tenty Jester.
Hello everyone, it is me, it is I, it is TNTI, Tenty Jester here.
Beautiful. And join me, actually, for the first time on my series, actually, so it's hopefully be able to do a lot more in the future. It is the Dominus Ignis. There you go, I'll say it out loud.
Hey, you said it right. I was very worried you weren't, because other people struggle with that. But hello!
Dominus Imminus.
I was worried as well, because it would look rude the first time you ever been on my show and I get your name wrong straight away. Like, you know. I got it right. Oh crap! God damn it! There goes my cameo on your channel. Then, god damn it!
Hello everyone, I am Jimjamatic, and joining me is Bill.
You can't even say Jimjamatic.
I'm Jim Jam.
I'm still laughing. Leave me alone.
It's all right. Yeah, so as I said, we go for robots. Sorry, that haven't appeared in the series, and we all picked three robots. We've alternated between our picks, and the final one will blow your mind. Is actually a legitimate one, and it was one of Owain's picks, so it was actually a really good creative pick there, actually. But we've all got some good choices. Put it
this way: if it's not going to blow your mind, it's going to blow the arena up.
That is true, and all three of us have got some decent choices, I think, of stuff to talk about. Range from pretty interesting to why was this even a thing? But in a good way, of course. And we're starting off with one of my picks first, and I chose Armakillo, who failed to qualify for both Series 8 and 9.
Armakillo. Exports.
I mean, I like this thing in a way, but it's kind of... It does look very Series 3, but in the best way possible, I guess. I mean, I noticed on the picture on the wiki, it has like LEDs on the axe.
Yeah, it's a very retro-looking bot, even down to apparently being powered by lead-acid batteries, which, you know, while normally it's like lipos.
Yeah, that was a very old-fashioned way.
It's an adorable-looking robot. I just love how retro this thing looks. It looks like a callback to the old times in Robot Wars that we used to know and love. Like Series 3 and all that.
It's very Ratus in design, I guess.
Yeah, it's sort of a mix between Ratus and Max Damage from Series 3.
Oh god, Max Damage.
Which failed to move.
That thing qualified.
One thing I like, which I typically like on robots, is the little eyes on it, just to give it that little bit extra personality. So every bot builder out there, put eyes on your robot, and I'll love it all the more.
It could be improved though by googly eyes, though. We all they're the ultimate eyes.
Oh, absolutely! You can't beat those.
I mean, there's eyes, and then there's painted on eyes, Diosaur eyes, then googly eyes. I'm sorry, it's the rankings of eyes.
Comparing Diosaur eyes to googly eyes is like comparing horizontal to vertical spinners. You can't really judge which one's more powerful.
But they are both correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, one thing I like to point out is the team members are really well described on the wiki. There are George and George's father. I like that.
Wasn't there any more information about these two?
There must be some more information online or something by who made these.
Look, Look, this is all the information you need to know. There's George, and he has a father. Do you need to know any more? Do you need the documentary?
I don't think we need the exact biography of their lives, but I mean at least know what their names are. I mean it's like
and then plot twist. It turns out that they go on Jeremy Kyle, and George's father is not George's father.
Plot twist. It's George Francis. I mean, it's still not as bad as that robot in Series 2 that hasn't got a name still, and the lightweights.
Oh God, yeah. Fuck, I forgot about that one.
I've gone to calling it T-pose.
In fact, it's got a giant T on it, so I can understand why you'd call it that.
Exactly.
They were
That's a beautiful name.
They were T-posing before it was cool.
I think we should all agree T-pose is its name.
But, I mean, back onto Armor Killer, the one thing I do like is the axe is literally just like a axe you'd find on tools and stuff. Like it's very reminiscent of Hammerhead from Series 3, where they just put a hammer on it.
It's literally the Tomb Raider axe with a red LED attached to the shaft.
And it's just brilliant. I mean, at least you won't get lost in the dark. So there is that.
It's beautiful, but I will say, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it could self-right if a flipper got underneath it. So if Dan Tom Kia went after it like it did its replacement Overdoser, I can't imagine it turning too much better for Armor Killer there.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, as I said, Overdoser was its replacer. I mean, on the negative, we didn't get to see Armor Killer in the series. On the plus side, we got to see Overdoser in the series.
We did technically get to see Armor Killer in the series. It's just backstage shots.
Oh yeah, it's in the
yeah.
background, yeah, of a couple of shots. Actually, you do get to see one of the shots. Actually, you do actually see George and George's father. So, if you're listening to us, can you please tell us what your names are? Because that would be very helpful.
You don't, James. You don't just go up to a 13-year-old boy and say, "Excuse me, what's your name?"
I'm not going up to him. I'm asking on a podcast.
I hope George's father isn't 13.
Oh god, I shouldn't I shouldn't go up to George's father and say, "What's your name?" Is your name literally just George's father, or do you actually have a name?
What's your name? Are you 13 years old?
That's the first thing I ask someone. Hi, are you 13? No. Right, fair enough. Have a good day. Oh god.
I imagine if George's father got really insulted and he's just like, "My name is actually George S. Father. I have you know."
The father family. George Father and George S. Father and George Father Jr.
George Stewart
and
Father
they
the
and they go home to Mother Father as well.
Fucking hell.
What? We've created a whole family life for these people now. It's like The Sims.
I low-key
like
want
a
to make this a
rejected-
fan fiction.
This is like a rejected Beano comic.
Yeah. And one last thing to say about the robot before we move on to the next pick is that the name is annoying me slightly because it is so close to Armadillo and Armadillo was not very good, to say the least.
Remind me to talk about Armadillo on my show. The
Okay.
One Hit Blunders on the Tenty Gents podcast.
Subtle.
There's your plug for the episode.
Hey!
Subtle that.
I'd completely forgotten about Armadillo.
I
Did it because it's one of the few robots that actually got back to life after the Refbots died, cancelled it out.
But yeah, Armor Killer. I mean, it'd be nice to have seen it in the series because nice to see a few more kind of rougher looking builds, I guess, and also more family teams as well. But it's a shame actually because the Armor Killer 2 looks very similar, but at least it looks like they had better armor, I guess. Maybe it's just because of the color.
It literally does look like Armor Killer should be from Series 3 and Armor Killer 2 should be from Series 4. It's got that sort of like upgrade to it.
Yeah, the kind of very,
You know what I mean?
the very shiny light metal on it, and very serious.
I know.
Yeah.
I know it probably wouldn't have done very well, but I do love that old look. And even if it didn't do well, I would have absolutely loved to just get like a more modern take on that retro look rather than say, Thermidor 2, which we kind of knew from the outset wasn't going to be able to win any of its fights.
Yeah, it's all like the kegs in Series 10. Just it's kind of like very old-fashioned, but you at least enjoy them.
Yeah.
Or in a more modern sense, Sharkoprian in BattleBots. Like, you know it's not going to win.
That's a perfect example, actually.
Oh, definitely. I never thought of that.
You know it's not going to win, they're just there to have fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's a father
Yeah.
and son team as well, which also makes it kind of a bit more special as well. I mean, I'd rather have seen this thing than, like, or was it pod or something that was just it looked like a very small tombstone, but it was that'd be a future robot potentially, yeah, because it just looks very. It just looks like a kind of slightly defunct tombstone, but oh well. It's nice. It's nice.
Don't work.
Yeah, it didn't really work. It was overweight, I think, as well. But it's nice to see a more original robot, come in at least apply. It's a shame we never got into the series, but we always have it in its background shots, so it still technically appeared.
Technically.
Technically. The next pick actually is one of Sean's picks, and it's Demolition Doris, made by the Disconstructor team of all teams.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was surprised by. Like, I saw it. I was already won over by the fact that it had 6 wheels, a pneumatic ram at the front, and apparently a flipper at the back, which I can't find a picture to show me that. But then I saw Disconstructor, and I was like, hang on.
There's only one picture of it in the wiki. I mean, there is actually a, I think it's an antweight or featherweight called Mini Doris, which they also used at some point, but there's a picture of it at some point. I can't seem to find it now. It's really annoying. But
I also managed to find another picture of it, but it's literally in the exact same pose as the one on the wiki.
Oh, great! This will be good variety for my podcast then. Actually, just wondering, out of interest, Sean, why did you pick this robot? Was it just because of how weird it looked, or was it just the fact it didn't look like another team?
To be honest, the paint kind of put me off at first from picking it, but then I just saw, I don't know, it's a very unique looking robot. The fact that they not only had the 6 wheels to try and make it push well, the fact that they also put the ram at the front and the flipper at the back. This is just like a complete, Swiss Army knife of robots. And even though I doubt it would have done very well, I just kind of wish we could have seen it try and use some of those weapons.
There's a lot of mystery behind this robot, because I've only got one picture of it. There's no idea how it didn't qualify. It might be worth actually asking the team actually on Facebook or something, because obviously they made it, so they know obviously about what happened and stuff. But I mean, they're still an active
might
team.
Still have it, you never know.
I mean, I think they still have Mini Doris. I think that I for some reason can't seem to find a picture for, but. And the team did fail to qualify for Series 9 as well, with the Disconstructor looked a bit like more like a kind of ring spinner type robot, like Gyrobot or something. Which would be if you just click on it's on the wiki, like a picture of the CAD version of it, and it actually looks kind of interesting, the Series 9 Disconstructor, but it looked nothing like the Series 7 and 8 one.
That would have definitely been an interesting take. I think that probably would have been even better than Disconstruct than the older Disconstructor.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's just so weird looking at Demolition Doris and then going to Disconstructor. How
it's definitely a big evolution from the team.
I mean, oddly enough, Demolition Doris reminds me of Hefty for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just this weird looking sort of odd robe. It looks nothing like it. That's the thing. I don't know why it reminds me.
Wait. You can't exactly call it Hefty. Remember, we sorted this out on the chat on Facebook. It's now known as Tank Slapper.
Oh, sorry. Of course, yes.
oh God. Tank Slapper.
Yeah, that is actually Hefty's working name before they chose the name Hefty for the robot.
I'm so glad they went with Hefty then.
Anyway, I think we need to move back onto the biggest mystery of Demolition Doris. What the fuck happened to her right eye? There's an eye patch over it. Doris, what happened to you?
Shunt must have axed it. He doesn't like faces, remember?
Oh, right.
He doesn't like,
as drunk as he is, he's very good at hitting heads.
Heads, yeah. He hit, Atlas's little robot thing. He got Banshee. He got Major Tom several times, I think.
Shunt is literally the demo man of Robot Wars. He's drunk all the time, but he always gets the position shots.
He's good at those no scope shots. He really is. But
one thing I wanted to see from this one was, because it's so low to the ground, it's not a tall robot at all, and the face is just so low. I could just imagine this thing just scuttling across, looking like a fucking creeper, just scuttling right towards the robots.
Yeah, actually, I just realised.
When you think about it, it looks so weird.
Actually, no, not Hefty. I don't know why. I think I've saw a more appropriate robot. It looks a little more like Das Kapek, the German robot.
Oh yeah.
Or something.
How the fuck did you confuse those two?
No, I didn't confuse them. I just instantly thought of Hefty for some reason, or maybe something like Rosie the Riveter, but with 6 wheels rather than 4. Is that
James, I have to question you if you've got Hefty on the mind. You just go to sleep, you have that robot, like, in your dreams.
Oh god,
James.
we're not getting a sequel to Monad, are we? We're not getting a sequel.
Jameson,
No, shut up.
they're 3 series apart. One has wheels, one has tracks. One is invertible, one is not. One is brown, one is covered in flowers. How do you confuse the two?
I don't know.
The only main thing they have in common is they both have spikes for weapons.
I legitimately have no idea how I mix them up. I mean, I don't know. I meant to say it doesn't look like Hefty as opposed to does. I don't know if you were clear about that. I meant to say doesn't, not does. Okay, just to be a bit official. To, not gonna go any further because I have no idea how I did that.
I think we'll end it on, I desperately want to see a picture of that rear flipper.
I do. I need to see the rest of this robot because it does look like we're just only getting one angle of it. We need to see. Also, I want to see the weapon as well. How big the spike was on it. I mean,
yeah, it's such a unique like robot. Like, obviously we've seen rams and flippers before, but not like together so much. Like, I genuinely want to see more of this robot outside of the one picture. There has to be more.
There must be. I mean, from the only picture we can see on the wiki, the weapon looks very similar to Agrobot's spike, maybe. How it's like a kind of barrel on it, and then there's a spike must come out of the middle of it. But again, there's no. It could be as long as it could be like I mean, actually, Hefty did have a big spike on it. No, actually, is related. It could be. Is it as long as that, or is it like 101s, which kind of sticks out a tiny bit? I don't know what the length of the spike's going to be, but spikes in Series 5 didn't tend to be very effective anyway. But it'd be nice to have seen it at least. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the sad thing. Sometimes you'll just see a robot and be like, oh, if only.
Okay, speaking of if only, I think we'll go for. I think that swiftly moves on to Owain's first pick, PC Plod.
Yeah.
Why,
PC Plod. Box.
Why did you pick this robot, Bob? I'm not because it's one of those robots that's just sort of there. I guess I'm not sure exactly what its purpose was, but I mean, what was a particular reason behind it, or?
Because it's still around to this day.
Of course it is, isn't it?
Yeah. The main picture on the wiki is from 2017.
Yeah, it's funny because up until now we only had one picture of it against the previous version of the Executioner in Series 4 during its qualifier, and you really didn't get much of a scale of it. You couldn't tell which way around it was supposed to be or what weapon was, and while you don't see the weapon on the actual picture now, it did have a saw blade, a bit like there's a few Robot Arena 2 robots have that, like a little saw just sticking out of the wedge, or like your favourite robot, Owain, Maximus.
Fuck off!
It's a similar weapon structure. I'm sorry.
Hey,
I mean, it's a nice, clean-looking robot.
It is.
James,
Go on.
James.
What?
Hefty didn't tie with Fluffy. I'm just going to say that.
Shut up. Oh yeah,
You started this.
and I'm ending it. But it is a very clean robot, as you're saying. It's kind of a shame because we would have seen this also in Series 3 at least, but it was in a side event that got cancelled thanks to a previous robot we've discussed on this show, More Pandemonium. Things.
Another one of my robots.
Yeah, you seem to have a good idea. Seems to have a good knack for picking the robots in to get cancelled. Yeah, because this thing would have been we would have seen it in Series 3 along with robots like Slippery Strana would have made a return. I think Milliambug would have been I think it was Milliambug and Spikosaurus, I think, would have been made an appearance as well. Again.
No, it was Milliambug and Agent Orange in the tag team.
Oh, it was Agent Orange. I heard someone that Spikosaurus might have been, or maybe I just got confused with something else, but there was a few. We would have seen a few robots also fail to qualify, in addition to robots that didn't do very well, so. But PC Plods, I mean, it's okay. It looks like something I would make in Robot Arena 2, as my first attempt.
You want to know what I love about this robot?
What's that?
It's got the,
I have to say one thing to defend it. Sorry to interrupt you, Owain, but I'm just reading through the wiki article as we speak. And I have to say one thing is it's apparently it seems like it would have been fairly durable back in the day. Like, for an example, when the Executioner tried to crush PC Plod, the crushing claw actually ended up bending when it was trying to pierce PC Plod. So I imagine it would have been one of the more durable robots from back then. So that would have been something at least.
You're saying what you're saying?
What I was going to say, I love the fact that this thing has a gap for the saw blade in this wedge, so the opponent has to drive up the wedge to be hit by the saw blade. But it's got a cut-off wedge.
You have to hope your opponent has a lot of ground clearance.
Boom, and that's the stupid music because it's a stupid fucking design.
Thank you for that. Actually, one thing. Actually, there's not much else really to talk about PC Plot, unfortunately. It's just sort of a wedge-like robot that's not really a wedge.
Quite light at 67 kilograms.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there were a few light robots in Series 4 and 3, but that's definitely pushing it.
I just love the fact that the team that own this robot now are trying to get it to competitive status.
I would love to see them try that.
I'm just like, yeah, this thing is really going to defeat Ripper, or really going to defeat Manta, or any other robot in the independent circuit.
Owain, if I see PC Plod beating robots like Ripper and Manta, I would... Like, if Carbide was brought back and lost to PC Plod, I would mark out like nothing else.
Speaking of robots that don't work, the team actually made a robot that didn't work in the last series, and then they failed to qualify for Series 3 and 4 with Jimjamatic. It's sort of like a refined version of Pain, which really sounds bad when I say it that way.
It's not the greatest endorsement.
No,
I
it
have
isn't.
to say though, I do love the look of Judge-Mech, to be honest. Like, it's a very nice, rugged-looking robot, I guess.
Yeah, it's got the same qualities as Pain, but it looks a lot more durable, because Pain was literally just a box with like a spear on the front of it, and loads of saws just stuck on it because they had to put extra weapons on it, which probably in turn didn't help the electronics very well. Like, Pain was a mess. Just
wasn't Pain the only robot in the original series and in the reboot series to attempt to sort of like cannon design weapon?
No, because Agrabot had sort of like a cannon spike as well, but it was the only one to have an oxygen spike, I believe, which was banned, I think, in the next series. Which obviously had like a bit of fuel, a bit of oxygen, and it would like, apart as opposed to like electric or pneumatic or something. But this one probably would be pneumatic because they would have allowed it in that series. But Judge-Mech, it's kind of funny because all the pictures on the wiki of it is the main picture of the robot, and then every other picture it's getting beaten up.
By Henry 2.
Like, Henry 2 wasn't the worst robot if it hadn't got killed in like 3 seconds, but I mean, you got Henry 2, but then you got like Draven lifting it up, which really says a lot about it. I mean, it was the chassis, granted, but still, they must have like known they were going to create spam in Series 5, so they thought, well, we're not going to need this chassis anymore, so let's just destroy it.
Oh yeah, on one note with what you said earlier, apparently the weapon was also carried over from Pain, so it was basically Pain 2, you know, a largely improved Pain, more or less.
You say improved, but it didn't make it into any series.
I was about to say, those tracks on Judge-Mech look awfully familiar to Pain's.
Yeah, I think Pain's tracks were just chains. Because if you look at them, they are it hobbled along quite bad. Like, I have a theory that it worked during they come out the door at the beginning. It worked then, but I have a theory that because all the electronics are kind of muddled about, too many weapons, and the fact it wobbled about quite a bit, it just broke itself. Because it just didn't work after that first bit. Because I remember watching that because of the HD episodes came out recently on YouTube, and when I got to Pain's here, I got more chance to look inside Pain like properly, like what it would look like, and I was just like, this looks so bad. Like, they really did. I mean, obviously, I know because I've never made a robot myself, but it just looked like an absolute clusterfuck inside the robot.
I imagine they wanted to try and fit like it all really densely, and I guess it just didn't work out.
I mean, it had 5 weapons. It had 6 weapons. It had a spike and 5 saws, and then you wonder why it didn't work. Probably.
I'm actually surprised you haven't called it Hefty yet, because there's a box with tracks and a spike.
It looks more like Panzer, honestly, than Hefty.
Actually, on the spike thing, eventually the spike was replaced with a drum, which you can see in its picture with Draven.
That looks really cool, the drum, actually. I mean, it's sort of like it's like Suicidal Tendencies one, a little bit.
Yeah.
Except, I don't know how potent it would have been, but this is a robot I kind of wish we got to Sin, because since we've talked a lot about Pain, it was just one of those robots that just... it might not have done very well, but it would be at least cool to see a new weapon or something, or just the way it was. But since it's like the improved version of Pain, I kind of wanted to see them at least do well with it. Like, you know, okay, we sucked last year, but this time we're going to come back with a good robot. And
it's the improved version. It moved for more than 10 seconds.
It actually moved in the arena. And next time we see the team, they make spam and drive into the pit against a broken spawn again. So, and I know
that still pains me to this day, because if Spam had won that, then Supernova would have been a semi-finalist.
Oh, definitely. Unless Supernova just exploded as soon as it started, which is quite a pun now I think about it. But
yeah, I do have to say I am a fan of Judgment, partially because I do love tracked robots like 101 and Mortis, but I think especially with the drum, it's, you know, just kind of a nice, unique little robot that I wish we could have seen.
Yeah, it's such a shame, because I mean, you'd never guess it was the same team as Spam, unless you're someone like Anderson, which I know like recognises faces really well. I don't, so but especially because the robots are nothing alike. Like, it went from 3 tracked robots to a sort of, I guess it looks like a can opener. I guess that's what the whole thing was meant to be, but I don't know what it was. But I constantly get this team mixed up with the Pandemonium team for some reason, because they're sort of similar, where they appeared in Series 2 and didn't appear until way later. But I know, I just wanted to
at least the Pandemonium team kept trying, though.
At least the Pain team didn't break. It didn't hurt anyone either. So their robot just hurt.
One last thing I want to bring up on Judge Mech is looking at these pictures of it getting absolutely anal raped by Draven. This charity event, it got destroyed. What were the safety standards of it?
Well, they weren't completely none, because people just stood right next to it.
There's, in that picture with Draven picking it up, there's literally a kid about 4 feet away from them. And Shredder was there as well. 2 fucking flywheels.
Actually,
listen, you know when you go to the fair and there's that thing where you hook a duck and win a prize? Draven's just giving the kid his prize.
Actually, what really worries me, at the same time, I think Dominator 2 was also there, because there's a picture of it doing the same thing and actually the first version of the Executioner as well, which is pretty cool to see. I think that's
and Tornado was there as well. I've seen pictures of the event from the Tornado website.
Actually, that picture's the second version of Executioner, because the first one looked nothing like it, which you saw against PC Plod, so it was before Series 5 and Extreme, I guess. Because it's pretty much identical to that version, so it must have been the second version, but yeah, Judge Mech, you tried.
Case in point, these people need to get fucking sued, because they literally give these robots another robot to destroy and shred, and they're all just standing a fucking 4 feet away from it.
No wonder Rex Garrett left.
Oh, Rex Garrett would have been down there with a fucking blowtorch, just fucking firing it at everyone because of the safety standards.
Ironically, being unsafe. But yeah, we'll move on from Judge Mech and we'll go to a robot I think is actually probably one of the best ones in this. Ones that didn't make it in, which is a bit of a shame. It's one of Sean's choices, was Toxic 2.
Oh, I love Toxic 2.
Did you just orgasm?
A little bit.
A little bit. I love a big, strong flipper.
It's a really cool. It's a really cool robot. It is sort of like an Apollo type flipper, but I've heard there was certain reasons why it didn't get in or something. That it wasn't selected for Series 8, and then Series 9 and 10 was a different robot. It's not unspecified in the wiki, but this thing would have been quite cool. It's sort of like the Kapow color scheme of that red and yellow, but it's like if Kapow and Apollo joined together.
Yeah. I assume part of the reason it didn't get picked is just because they didn't want to have too many flippers. But I feel like if there's going to be a robot you'd make an exception for, it'd probably be a robot like Toxic 2, to be honest.
It's probably the most, apart from the last one, which we'll get into. It's probably the most competent looking robot out of all the ones we've seen. Like the most like modern looking one. Also, one if it was in the series, I wouldn't bat an eyelid at seeing it.
Yeah, I do love Toxic 2. I've seen it live. It is so powerful.
It's a powerful boy. I've seen videos of it online. It's just a big shame, really, because it is like an Apollo type robot. But I mean, Terry Miles, who made it, I've heard he's a top bloke from what I've heard from some people I've talked to, and he's and Toxic 2. I mean, the original Toxic looks very kind of first robot, but it obviously evolved way better into Toxic 2 once the 2 was added onto it.
The 2 adds everything. It's like the sequel to almost any trilogy. It's like the first one is, you're just getting into it. The second one is where everything gets better. So we just gotta hope there's no Toxic 3 where everything goes downhill.
I mean, look at 3 Seconds to Heaven. That's a good example. 3's not really ending though. It doesn't work all the time though, because Cassius 2 ended up in the pit after the second round. So
I had an orgasm. Wayne just had a hate-gasm.
I mean, is there anything else we want to talk about? Because I mean, it's not like it's a bad robot, but I guess it's just sort of, it's very.
We can't really talk about it that much. It was just a very good robot that wasn't chosen for the series.
And that's I do recommend anyone who hasn't seen Toxic 2 in action to look up some videos just to get why I'm sad that it didn't get in.
Yes,
it is basically like Apollo and Rapid levels of flipper power.
It would explain better than we ever could, really.
I don't normally make homework for my podcast, but that is homework for this at least. At the very least, to take something out of this. Look at Toxic 2, and then wonder why the producers didn't put this in. Probably because of the flippers, I'm guessing, because they had like Dan Tompkins, Apollo. A lot of good flippers. I mean, and also maybe the standard was just so high that also there's a lot of flippers in the pilot as well, which probably explains a lot as well, like Kapow and Merlin and stuff. But it's just a really good robot. It's the most competent robot here, apart from the finale, I guess we're talking about. But in terms of the picks, it's definitely the most competent and one most modern looking, which is a bit of a shame. But then I'll get to Owain's second pick, and of course he had to pick something that was Welsh looking, so Welsh looking. Of course it's Scrap Dragon.
I didn't look at this until just now.
it looks very similar to that robot that Glitter One made for the Chinese series.
Princess of Wales, yeah.
The kettle.
It's that, and it's like the kettle. It's like Chomp a lot in some ways as well. It's very kind of very in that kind of vein, and
it's a diet warhead.
And unfortunately, it didn't qualify for Series 6 or 7, which is, although I have to say this is no offense to the other robot here, but I will admit this is kind of sad that in Series 6 their opponents were Shell Shock, who also didn't qualify, thankfully. There was Gyrobot, which was very unlucky not to qualify, but got in Series 7, as is Shell Shock actually. But they also lost to the Stag.
When you lose to the Stag.
And they got in. They were the only one out of this battle that even got into the series. The other two at least got into Series 7. Scrap Dragon just didn't get into either of the series.
I have to say, there's like a picture of it in its qualifier, and when you see like through the perspective of like the booths where they would control the robots look tiny. I can only imagine what it was like back in the day, because you're stood next to your robot, it's bloody huge, and then you go into the booth and suddenly it's like you're playing with like the pullbacks.
Yeah, I can kind of see why this robot didn't make it in though, because we look at the Series 6 picture of it and you think, oh, okay, yeah, but they're quite improve on that next time. Series 7 picture, it's the same but with a tail. I mean,
the tail adds so much.
It didn't get into Series 7 though, did it? I mean,
I can't imagine. I'd hate to see Scrap Dragon against like Typhoon 2.
And you're saying that, like, but secretly you want to see that thing go against it. You would.
You're saying that, mind. If you enlarge the picture of the Series 7 qualifier version, you can actually see how thick the armor is. It looks pretty damn thick.
It looks thick. I mean, it must have either not got in because of the maybe internal problems, or maybe it just wasn't as good as the other robots it was against, because there's no... It did say it was virtually unchanged in Series 7, but apart from the tail, of course. But
I don't get why it didn't qualify though. I mean, it's a Welsh dragon. It should qualify by default.
Of course. I mean, it's got a lifter, a clamp, and a flail. I don't see where the flail is on this robot though. Admittedly, I mean, I see the clamp. The head could be the clamp and the axe and stuff, but where's the flail?
Maybe the flail attaches to the tail. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, that would be
Maybe
awesome.
it's interchangeable weaponry. Who knows?
Oh, it might be. I mean, it could be at the back. It'll be like Demolition Doors, where we can't see all the robots. We never see good back shots of it apart from that qualifier. But
Scrap Dragon takes a note out of tornadoes, but gets an anti-razor cage or something.
I mean, I do kind of like this robot. Again, it has that Chompalot vibe to it, which I kind of like, but
yeah.
I can see, understandably though, I can definitely see why if it didn't get in, I'm not sat there going, well, this is a travesty like Toxic 2 or something. I'm kind of like, okay, maybe.
So you're not mad that this thing didn't get into Series 7, yet Robot's like, I bought one beta Bod and Ming Dynasty did.
Okay, when you say it like that, it's bad. I'm talking on an individual robot basis. If I look to this robot, it's not the worst, but it's not the best either. But I will admit, Bod shouldn't have been in there.
Bobot.
And
now the comparison's been made to Princess of Wales, I can't stop looking at Scrap Dragon and just the Pokemon evolution theme plays in my head.
Your robot evolved into a kettle. Oh god, I love it. But I mean, it's a nice robot. It's just, I don't know. I mean, compared to some of the robots we've seen, the next robot we're talking about, my god, it is like Tornado in comparison. But you know the one.
Oh dear.
Actually, we might as well get to it, because unless there's anything else people want to say about Scrap Dragon, I mean, apart from the fact it's a Welsh dragon.
It's a nice looking robot, but yeah, I can see why it didn't get in, unfortunately.
Actually, one thing that's worrying also on its Series 6 picture, looming behind it is 13 Black. Like,
I saw.
Oh god.
like yeah, you gotta get past me, bitch. It's like, nope, okay, fair enough, I understand. Have a good day. Because look, I mean, this all happened.
Hey, maybe Team 13 have some more pictures of Scrap Dragon.
I'd like to. I mean, coincidentally,
That'd be nice.
Actually, that's kind of a coincidence I think about it, because Chompalot was in 13 Black's opening battle, and they look kind of similar. That's just kind of weird, that how things work out. But
it's the dragons. Why would they leave me alone?
I don't know. But yeah, poor old Scrap Dragon. I mean, again, as I said, as Wayne said, in Series 7, there were definitely more deserving robots like this compared to like Mobot and Bod and stuff. But at the same time, it's not the biggest loss I guess Robot Wars could have had. But it would be nice to see at least try again and have another robot in Series 8, perhaps. But I don't know.
Maybe Hefty.
Now I'm gonna say, I'm usually tend to try not to be the most harsh against robots, but honestly this is my least favorite of all the ones I picked, which is why I picked it, because it's sort of a meme of how bad it is with like me and like Charlie especially, of how bad it is. Of course, it's an Xbox.
When the hell else would we have gotten the chance to talk about this thing?
I guess the nearest time potentially would have been talking about Hold After Bad in Series 7, like talking about previous robots. So I guess, this is also the Crazy Coop 88 and Ironheart 88 team. And they created quite a few robots, like Big Fish is another robot, and also ISM, that has no pictures of, so I can't unfortunately really cover this robot very easily. Big Fish, that's definitely a future one, because while there isn't a picture of it, there's at least some kind of description of it, but Xbox.
It looks like Can Opener and Pussycat got together, had a few drinks.
It's like they tried to do what Pussycat did, but made it so unwieldy that it would never have self-righted on its side. Like
it reads like, I've looked at the pictures and there's like grabbers on both ends as well, so it couldn't have even done the Pussycat thing. And then it says about how there would have been a rear axe and a spinning drum.
What?
That is just like Crazy Coop 88 spinners. Like, actually, it's weird. It's the same robot almost, like, except minus the fact that it's like less bulky. They've got two weapons on either side, neither of which actually do anything, and
one's horizontal, one's vertical.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same robot.
To say Crazy Coop 88 is less bulky, it's like saying, oh yes, this caterpillar is slightly less bulky than this killer whale.
Oh yes, there's a gross exaggeration, but it's weird.
I wouldn't be surprised if Crazy Coop 88 was actually made of most of the internals from Xbox, to be honest.
Like going from Monad to 4x4. I mean, their first robot they managed to get in was Hold After Bad, which I mean, if it was just a one-off robot, I'd be like, it's okay, but it's probably the best thing they've ever made. Which, I don't want to criticize anyone, but it's Xbox. I don't get it. I just don't get what this purpose of this robot was supposed to be. It's not invertible all the way.
It's one of the only robots that would fail the googly eyes test as well.
Oh, that's sad. That's sad. You
Actually,
failed that.
Actually, that front thing you could claim is a beak.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a big, angry baby bird.
I mean, maybe if they obviously appeared in the series, they might have actually given it a bit of a paint job, because it's just kind of bland metal paint at the moment, but...
It's an angry bird.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Someone throw it at a pig.
Imagine if it was actually ridiculously fast, and that's just what all this space is for. It's like got incredibly high-tech internals for the time.
Also, speaking of unsafety, you always talking about bad safety with Jimjamatic before. Look at what it's stood on in the picture. It's on like a table, like wooden blocks above it. If that fell over, that would do more than hurt your foot a bit.
Hey kids, guess what's
God,
for dinner?
I've only just fucking noticed that.
I've only just noticed as well. I think this is the longest I've ever looked at these pictures. So that's probably the reason why. I've normally just gone, oh god, next. And then like...
Hey kids, guess what's for dinner? No, Mum, I'll just eat the broccoli.
Like I could just imagine the guys working on this robot, and then some Final Destination shit happens. One of the wooden planks tips over, and the robot just falls onto the guy, and the beak impales his head or something.
Why is it that both like robots that have tried to look like Pussycat utterly fail? Like this one, and there's also Twister from Series 6, which I'm talking about that one in the future. Don't worry, that's on the list. But
that's another robot with the weapon on the wheelbase.
Yeah, and I'm just utterly dumbfounded by this robot. I'm not a fan of robots. Like everyone knows my infamous hatred for Binky of how badly designed it is, but. This thing.
Just wait till you get on my show, mate.
I know that I can't wait to talk about that thing, but this is like a whole new level. Like, I mean, I can't. The reason why I can't include it because in terms of robots I've seen that have failed to qualify, this is probably the worst designed one. But unfortunately, since it didn't qualify, I guess it's hard to be too harsh about it because the producers made the right call.
I mean, thankfully they moved on to like better designs, so that's at least something.
Yeah, definitely. Both the robots they had on TV are infinitely better than this thing, and it's the only one. It's the only robot they've made out of like the ones beforehand, like in the classic series, that actually has a picture because they've got his Ironheart 88, and that thing's just it's alright. It's definitely a lot better than this. It's actually a robot, not.
You wanna know what? You wanna know what I love about Xbox?
What's
the
that?
fact that it's I'm assuming it's aerial. It's just drooped over the top of the robot and just dangling downwards.
Oh my god! Yeah,
it's hard to see unless you enlarge the picture.
Actually, that's not its aerial. The aerial's like on the left of the top of it. If you go further
what the
up.
fuck is that thing then?
I don't know. It's not an aerial. The aerial's already on it, so I don't know what that thing's supposed to be.
It's just got a random ass wire just sticking at the top of the robot.
It's an entanglement device. Although
a piece of string.
I don't know why.
Xbox can beat Carbide. Xbox can beat Carbide. You heard it here first.
I would love to have seen this thing go against like Chaos 2 or actually imagine this thing Gravity in Series 7.
Oh my word!
Yeeted out of
existence. It looks like a super heavyweight.
It does, and it doesn't say the weight unfortunately on the wiki, but it must be at least under 100 kilograms or less because it wouldn't have qualified otherwise. But
I know this isn't the case, but if the thing that would have made it win a million more coolness points with me is if it turned out this arm was actually like one giant solid billet of metal.
Oh, that would be amazing. It like something out of Minecraft, just a block of metal. Also, one last.
It's duck. It's duck.
Yes.
Oh Christ!
I mean, one last thing before we move on to more, slightly more competent robot is the fact that the rear. I think the rear. I don't know where the front is on this robot, but all right, the horizontal crusher, it's lopsided. Like, it doesn't actually... It's not like can opener where it kind of...
Oh, yeah.
Like, one part is on top of the other, so it's not going to actually ever grab onto anything properly.
It's like a pair of scissors.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's not like... I mean, can opener is obviously one of the better looking, like, horizontal crushers out there, but... Probably the best one, in my opinion, but it's just...
I love... Looking at the part of the robot you're telling me to look at, I love the fact that they couldn't even get the metal sheet all the way across the robot.
I know. It's a bodge
There's
job.
a huge-ass gap... And you can see right into the robot.
Oh, man. Again, this robot, I mean... I'm kind of glad it did, like, Red Ring, because otherwise...
I see what you did there.
It's funny, because the Xbox didn't actually do that.
Mine did.
Also, it triggers me there's no dash between the X and the box. Like, X box.
They called it the Xbox 360 because it made the producers turn 360 degrees and walk away. Yay!
But if you turn 360
Repeat
degrees...
that to yourself, Sean. And
yeah.
Repeat that to yourself.
360, hold on.
I can't believe you You swines! You've never heard that shit insult said in forums.
Well, I don't hang out in forums.
Neither do I. I hang out on Facebook, unfortunately.
That's practically that's actually worse at this point.
Oh, definitely.
God.
We'll move on to Sean's final pick, which I'm quite curious why you picked this one, because I completely forgot this was a thing. Weird Alice.
I'm quite curious as to why you said Weird Alice was just slightly better than Xbox.
Well, actually, for a start, at least it looks like a robot. That thing's a block. You know. This...
I mean, it's too well. It's for really for the one reason that. Like, the initial form isn't much to talk about. It's like it's a small robot with a pneumatic spike that tried to enter into like Series 4. What got my attention was that they didn't just scrap it and move on to like their next robot. They ended up creating a second version of Weird Alice with a flipper, which would go on to become the basis for Weird Malice, which you can see in the live circuits nowadays.
I do love the design of Weird Alice, though, like the second version of it.
Yeah.
It's sort of got that kind of vector colour scheme to it, like kind of green and like bars and stuff with a black, and it just looks really cool. I mean, compared to Weird Alice, the original one, which is just sort of like it does like something I would make in Robot Arena 2. Like, just a basic wedge. Actually, it looks very similar to my very first robot I ever made. But it had like a spinning blade on it rather than the pneumatic spike, but it seems like the wrong weapon for the shape.
Yeah, I remember reading it, and they said themselves that the weapon didn't work nearly as well as they hoped it would. So that's, I think, why they quickly changed to the box-shaped like flipper. Which I have to say, I do have quite an enjoyment of Weird Malice. I know it doesn't do as well as other flippers, but I don't know, just something about it I kind of enjoy. So to see like the beginnings of it, I don't know. I just kind of enjoy that.
Yeah, it kind of looks a little bit like Jabba, the Series 7 robot. That's how I expected the weapon to probably be. If I didn't, I just looking at the robot, I didn't think it was going to be a spike, admittedly. But it looks alright. But the second version of Weird Alice and later on Weird Malice is definitely where it's at. Like that spatula-looking flipper is just so beautiful, and the shape it just looks so great. Why couldn't we have seen this in Robo Wars? That'd been great for them if they had entered that, because.
Yeah, it's a unique looking flipper, not just the wedge like you see most days.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I don't know why the producers turned this thing down, because it's unique.
Yeah, it's
what you want.
It's like I think they call it a spatula flipper, don't they? It's like that kind of shape.
I think this was definitely a good direction to take it in after they found the spike was like really weak, apparently. Because they could have stuck with the original Weird Alice and just try to make the spike better, but I guess they were just like, they were just like, no, we're going to try and start this from scratch and make a much more useful weapon. And to be fair, they succeeded, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to quote the team on this is actually a quote from the wiki around Series 4. It says, "We found that the gear ratio was far too low, the wheels were far too apart, and the weapon was next to useless." So even they knew the weapon wasn't very good. So I'm glad they decided to not give up and make something new and improve themselves, because they definitely succeeded. And like even the second version before they got Weird Malice is still pretty cool looking, but Weird Malice is just a good improvement on it, and it's just nice to see it evolve, I guess. I mean, if it just stayed like this, it would have been just sort of a forgotten robot we see in one picture against losing to Vercingetorix of all robots, but
It's a fairy tale ending to the for the team.
Yeah, it's sort of like if imagine if the Groundhog team had just given up at Series 2. It's like that would have been. I mean, obviously, we'd never have known of if that was in that reality. But there's a certain reality out there where where they gave up at Series 2 and never made Firestorm. And I've never. There's
a certain reality where Overdoser beat Carbide as well. So I think the least we think of that alternate universe is the better, because they're all depressing.
Each alternate universe gets worse than the last. but by the end of it, we'll have like Demolisher winning Series 1.
Granny's
by the end of it, we'll have James as a credible YouTuber.
Oh, harsh.
Oh.
It's funny.
Ouch.
It's funny because we're living in that reality. Oh. Oh well. But yeah, Weird Alice, the original one, definitely not a very good robot. Even I would feel bad about saying that even the team said it was useless. So yeah, it's not too bad. But they made good robots since, and it's nice to improve. Definitely.
It's a much. I love Weird Malice. It's a much better robot.
Now,
Yeah.
the final robot.
Can I introduce this one actually?
Yeah, sure. I was going to say, before you say the actual name of the robot, I will say this thing. You can check the wiki. This is a legitimate robot that tried to qualify for Extreme Warriors, the American series, but didn't make it. Probably because it would have just been too over the top. Go on away. Only you can say this because this is your pick.
It'll bowl you over like a game of bocce, grill you up like a southern hibachi. Remember that show, Joanna Loves Chachi? It wasn't very good, but this robot's great. It's Son of Waiachi.
Ah!
That was absolutely amazing. You take a bow if we could see you doing that. But
I take a bow for reading Farouk Tawheed introductions.
It was great. That was still good though. But yes, Son of Waiachi, possibly one of the most broken robots ever to appear in the earlier BattleBots, was going.
Admin, please nerf.
Yes, was going to be in Series 1 of Extreme Warriors. Or 2, I think. One or 2, it didn't say specifically, but oh my, this thing, imagine it again. I mean, some of the robots in Extreme Warriors weren't that bad. I'm probably going to cover it in the future eventually once I'm done with Robot Wars, but some of the robots were kind of bad, but even then, this thing.
None of the robots in Extreme Warrior, except for maybe Panzer, could have stood up to Son of Waiachi.
Maybe
this was the Season 3 BattleBots version, the one that won the heavyweight championship,
and the one that
using a broken-ass system and a flaw in the rule book, so that their weapon was just about as heavy as every other robot in the tournament.
Wasn't this the robot that changed the rules or something?
Yeah.
It's because it was so ridiculously powerful that I think they quickly realised, you can cut enough weight with a shuffler system that it doesn't need the same weight bonus of a walker, otherwise it ends up getting ridiculous. It ended up being put in the super heavyweights in BattleBots after it won the championship.
Imagine this thing around Series 5, standard. Like, I mean, I can't think of any robot in Series 5 that would have stood against this thing really well. I'm
wincing at the thought. Jesus Christ.
I mean,
imagine Son of Waiachi versus Razor.
Son of Waiachi versus Granny Revenge.
Okay. Son of Waiachi doesn't stand a chance there. I'm sorry, James. I'm going to have to stand step in there.
Son of Waiachi versus Dome. I think Dome would come out on top of there because Dome would mesh up, all that stuff around it would mesh into the robot and wouldn't be able to get out.
Son of Waiachi versus Rough Dougal.
Son of Waiachi versus 11. Until the way you mentioned this, I did not even know that Son of Waiachi was even a possibility in this show. I'm so glad it was, because the fact that this thing, it's the fact they even had the balls to qualify. They didn't look back, didn't have to do some research, didn't look at Series 4 and go, yeah, they can handle this. All I can think of when I say this robot is just the possibilities of what would have happened. Like, stuff everywhere. I don't think Sam Elliott would have been alive if this had happened. I think we would have lost a great man in the Robot Wars community if this thing had been allowed into the UK. Because
Christ.
like I said, the only robot I could see actually standing up to this at the time, because this was Season 1 of Extreme Warriors, was Panzer.
Maybe Tricerabot or Rosie the Riveter if they got in front, but that's a if. That's a big if. I mean, Conquering Clown, Buzz, Bunny Attack, Rockbox,
oh my god, this Season 1.
Tiger Cat, what else is there?
Fuck.
I know they entered the US series, but actually one fight I would genuinely like to have seen would be it fighting like Typhoon 2. Just because I remember like Typhoon 2 just barely managed to win against Megabyte. So I'd like to see what would happen if those two big spinners of back in the day were to clash.
I think White actually would have won that one.
Yeah,
probably, but it's more just I would like to see what would happen there.
That'll be such a fun battle. But
I would have actually loved to have seen Son of Waiachi actually qualify, because this was back in the format of 4 melees of 6 with only one winner. So Son of Waiachi could have just sat in the middle of the arena, got the spinner up to speed, and let all the crap robots just drive into it.
It's almost like, actually, it does explain one robot in I think Series 2 of Extreme Warriors. It kind of makes you laugh how like Sonoe, actually, you're too powerful. I think we need something less powerful. And then like the propeller head team go, hi, you're in. I mean, propeller head wasn't the worst thing ever, but I mean, its weapon it did puke its own weapon out, so take for that whatever. But
by the way, if you're going to look up videos of one capable robot with Toxic 2, one fight I'd recommend people check out is Nightmare versus Son of Waiachi, just because it's one hit and it's done. And it's such a massive hit, and it'd probably give you a good idea on how it would have done in Robot Wars.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But Son of Waiachi, I mean, damn. It's just that just gets me. About this, we could have potentially had this thing in Britain, which is all sadder in a way.
I was just saying, you see the 3-pointed bar and the red bars in between, and you think Waiachi.
I was going to say, like, you mentioned Biohazard and Nightmare, the two robots that Son of Waiachi absolutely slaughtered in its fights.
Oh, definitely, yeah, but they're still iconic. But
actually, I know that's... sorry, before you continue, I just want to say, I actually remember listening to a podcast with Ray Billings on, and he said that if there was one robot he'd love to face, it would be Son of Waiachi, which I hope one day we get to see what would happen if those two were to collide.
If those two meet in this season of BattleBots.
Oh, I remember, yeah, I think it was on the Hardcore podcast, I think, because they got him on. And that was, I think it was, because I do remember him talking about that, and that, oh man, I would love to see that fight. I would love to see that. But,
I would have farted and shitted and came.
That's a good way to end this.
It was great. And then, so, that is the last robot we have to talk about today. We've talked about 3 each. We've gone from a iconic BattleBots robot, a robot with literally a pickaxe, so a weapon, a 6-wheeled flaming red robot, a cop, a tank, a flipper, a dragon, a thing, and a spike.
Hefty.
Yeah, hefty, exactly. And weird Alice spike thing. So it's been fun. This has been a good episode, actually. A lot of good picks from all of us, I'd say, and Owain, you just took the cake. I'm sorry, Sean, but my God, Son of Waiachi, how do you beat that?
You don't. None of the BattleBots robots did back in the day. None of the BattleBots robots beat Son of Waiachi back in the day, so I don't know what you expected of a mere fleshy mortal like me.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
But before we end this episode, is there any plugs anyone wants to give each other? Or any things they're doing that they want to promote? Because
I've got my show, The One Hit Plunders, on SoundCloud. Check it out. We talk about robots that only appeared once and forever once. Only one battle each.
Cool.
So robots, go on.
Sorry, you go on. Sorry, go on. I didn't realise. All right. Well, I do memes and gaming content. So I'm going to be doing something with James, hopefully in the near future.
I say the word weeble, and that's all you need to hear.
The video just ends. I delete my channel and just go to live on there.
You post one of our videos and you go, I don't think I can improve on this anymore. I think I should end my channel now, because end on a high note.
We can't end yet because there was one more thing I wanted to plug.
Go on.
Sorry, check me out if you like memes and Robot Arena 2. Go on, Wayne.
Thank you, Dominignus Ignis. One other thing I wanted to plug is Antway Anarchy's Battle of the YouTubers.
Oh yes, I was mentioning this. Yeah, there are 10 of us in total. 9 teams of 10 people. We've got me, you, Stephen, Anthony, Sam, Mike, Mr. Psycho, aka got Harry, Alex Hunter. You got Charlie and Harry, and am I missing anyone? Oh no, and Paul from Orange Juice Overdose as well.
How the fuck do you forget Paul?
I was going through the I didn't forget him, as he's the last person I thought of. I'm sorry. If I do things in a certain order. I'm sorry, Owain. I can't.
Paul, if you're listening, James never loved you.
Yes, unsubscribe from my channel. I don't like you, apparently. Okay. Because
Friendship ended. Friendship ended with Paul. Owain is my best friend now.
Jimjamatic exposed. Do you like Paul all along? I have no idea. But
Paul's just going to go to the comment section with his caps lock just locked down and just write in the longest, angriest email.
James exposed. Is Paul your best friend? Who?
I'm on the spot now. But yeah, obviously it's the Anarchy. Obviously it's Stephen and Anthony's little project. They've completed series 1, and now in between series 1 and 2, before they do a break, they're going to do Battle of the YouTubers, where me and Owain and all those people I mentioned are involved. We'll have Robot representing us. You've got Jester, I believe, your little thwackbot.
Yep.
I was gonna have a robot originally, but it got donated due to some limitations. I have now ended up with Razor, which is the greatest robot ever made.
Wait. So you were gonna have a robot, but then Anthony went behind your back and donated it away.
No,
You only just found out.
No, it's because of limitations. Obviously, money, time, all that. I guess they wanted to get the series done, and not everything works out as planned because things don't get ordered on time. So I was originally gonna have like a little ramming robot with a little hook on it for some reason, for the memes. But I ended up with Razor. It was that or Iron Ore, and I think Mike got Iron Ore in the end. So I've got Razor, the greatest robot ever made, as we know. And I wanted to say fuck you, Owain, for putting Monad on the bottom of your robot. Or God damn it! I noticed that during when we were going for our chat and we're editing stuff, and I saw your intro, and I was like, God damn it.
But yes, I will say, if you guys haven't checked out Antweight Anarchy, you should definitely do that. It's probably one of the best edited series out of like any Robot Wars YouTuber out there. Like, it's such a fun little series to watch, really.
Yeah, and Stephen and Anthony are so passionate about this. This is like Anthony's written, and Stephen's, next big thing. It's so good. Series 1, it has some flaws. Some of the robots aren't as, there are obviously some robots that are way more powerful than others, but they're improving it. I've seen the build to Series 2 and beyond. They look incredible. They've really improved themselves, and that's the reason why I'm one of the patrons for it, because it's so good. So I'd say check it out. If you want to donate money to them, you can. I'll put a link into their channel and their Patreon in the description, so go and check them out. They need to.
Check it out if you want to see little robots, Stephen, Professor Noel Barkey, and Anthony all dancing over Antweight Foxic.
Oh, Professor Noel Barkley. Yeah, I love.
Barkley.
Yeah, I think it's Barkley. I think. But
it's Barkey.
Oh, is it
fucked it up again.
I'm sorry. I can't get it.
You're not
right.
meeting Owain's expectations.
Oh, Jimjamatic Exposed Part 2, Owain takes over his channel.
Look at me. I am the channel now.
I can't look at you. It's a bit of a problem.
Metaphorically.
Oh God. Ah! God, do I have to
We
look
stopped
at that
talking about Son of Why Archie about 10 minutes ago.
Well, yeah, this is supposed to be a few little plugs, we plug our channels and talk about something else we're involved in, and now it's
the Jeremy Kyle show. Only you two are just destroy each other, and I'm the audience. There's no Jeremy Kyle. He's just left.
It's just show.
He looked at you. He looked at you two, and he just thought, no, fuck this. I've seen people with like one tooth. Saying about how they slept with their brother, but I can't deal with this shit.
It's just a Newport co-op at 3 in the afternoon. That's all it is. I don't know how accurate that is, Owen, but by that laugh, I think you might have seen something similar.
Joke's on you, there's no co-ops in Newport.
Great, that's the worst thing that could have happened. But we'll end this now. God, the editing's been good on this one. But I'll try and keep the bants in, don't worry. But this was the Robots Never Were Part 2. Obviously, actually, Anthony, also part of Antweight Anarchy, originally suggested this. So a huge thanks once again for suggesting this really good series. It's been good.
Thank you, Anthony. Please have my children. Fuck, I fucked that up.
Thank you, Anthony. Don't have my children. I just want you to know you're amazing.
Thanks, Anthony. Can I please wear your Foxic hoodie? That's all I'm saying.
Anthony. Can I wear your skin? Can I wear your skin, Anthony?
I'm ending this.
Can
right.
I wear your skin, Anthony?
Despacito!
right. Okay. Yeah. God, yeah. You had Sean. He did some stuff. And you have Owain. They did some other stuff. You're supposed to.
I want to wear all your skin.
Do stuff. Okay. Bye.